Good evening and welcome to the news tonight. Start of a new week and we have lots packed in the next 30 minutes from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilshi and let's start with the headlines. Is Congress making a mountain out of a molehill? Alleged snooping of Vice President Rahul Gandhi rocks both houses of Parliament. Government terms it a non-issue, terms it transparent profiling. The Congress stages massive protests in the capital against the Land Acquisition Amendment Bill as the deadline nears for the government to table the bill in the upper house. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is back in Delhi after a 12-day medical leave. The gaping rift in the Aam Aadmi Party ranks as his most immediate challenge. Extensive damage to the rabi crop in north and western India due to unseasonal rains and hailstorms on Sunday. Huge farmer losses and shortages in cities loom large. An island nation Vanuatu appeals for urgent rehabilitation aid in the aftermath of Cyclone Pam. The president says the storm wiped out all development with 90% of buildings damaged. But our top story, the government today refuted opposition charges of political espionage against Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi. The issue came up in Rajya Sabha and the leader of the House, Arun Jaitley, asserted that information collection was part of security profiling practiced under the former UPA regime as well. The Congress, however, upped the ante, alleging that the political freedom was being compromised and demanded a statement by the Home Minister on the issue. As a mark of protest, the Congress staged a walkout.
Inquiries made by the Delhi police recently at Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi's residence snowballed into a political controversy with a series of charges and counter-charges traded between the Treasury and the opposition benches in Rajya Sabha. Responding to charges of prying and spying on political opponents by the opposition, Leader of the House Arun Jaitley said the police have been collecting information on 526 VIPs since 1987, including Congress President Sonia Gandhi and former Prime Ministers.
The issue you have raised today is making a mountain of what is not even a molehill. 1999 में उस परफॉर्मा को बदला गया और बदला हुआ परफॉर्मा मेरे पास है। हमारे देश के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री श्री एच.डी. देवेगौड़ा, श्री आई.के. गुजराल जी अब नहीं है दुनिया में, उनकी, डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी की, श्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी की, सोनिया जी का अक्टूबर 2004 यूपीए की सरकार में हुआ, 2009 में हुआ, 2010 में हुआ, 2011 में हुआ, 2012 में.
Jaitley also clarified that the collection of details on shoe size and color of eyes was an imperative component of collecting security information and said that the former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi was identified by his shoes after his assassination.
Experts नहीं है और न ही हम बनने का प्रयास करें. जूते के साइज का क्या रेलेवेंस है? इस देश के एक पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री का जब असैसिनेशन हुआ था तो जूते की वजह से उनके शरीर का आइडेंटिफिकेशन किया गया था. इसलिए हम अपनी संसद हैं, राजनीतिक हैं, इसलिए हम अपने आप को उस तक कन्फाइन रखें. सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइलिंग के लिए जो सिक्योरिटी एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनको जो जानकारी चाहिए होती है ये उनके ऊपर छोड़ दें. इसलिए जूते के साइज का भी रेलेवेंस हो सकता है सिक्योरिटी में.
The Congress, on the other hand, gave a notice under Rule 267 to suspend business of the House to take up the issue. Dubbing the inquiry an invasion into Congress Vice President's privacy, Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, claimed that the government was attempting not only to curb religious and civil freedoms, but also political freedom.
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी आए और सदन में स्टेटमेंट दे दें, क्योंकि ये किसी भी व्यक्ति की, चाहे वो राहुल गांधी हों, चाहे हमारे दूसरे सीनियर लीडर्स हों, दूसरी विपक्ष के नेता हों, उनकी जो प्रिवेसी है उस प्रिवेसी के खिलाफ है और भारत की डेमोक्रेसी के खिलाफ है.
The JDU and SP soon joined ranks with the Congress.
इस पर फुल फ्लेज बहस कराई जाए. कॉर्पोरेट का एस्पाइनेज और पॉलिटिकल एस्पाइनेज फ्रॉम दिस साइड टू दैट साइड.
1 लाख फोन रोज टेप करे जाते हैं. आप अपराधियों के फोन टेप करिए, लेकिन आप पॉलिटिकल लोगों के फोन कैसे टेप करेंगे?
Dissatisfied by Jaitley's response, the Congress staged a walkout. A Delhi police team visited Rahul Gandhi's residence last week seeking details about his appearance and whereabouts. Delhi police have also denied allegations, calling it a routine visit as part of security audit. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the government gave a clarification about the Rahul Gandhi snooping row in Lok Sabha as well. The clarification came after the opposition parties accused the government of keeping a watch on opposition leaders.
The government today clarified its stand on the issue of inquiries made at the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's residence by Delhi police. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley refuted allegations of spying behind what he termed as routine questioning. He said that this was an exercise undertaken with the point of view of securing VVIPs. Parliamentary Affairs Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu said such inquiries are even made about the President and the Prime Minister.
From security point of view, these details are necessary. Now, were these details being collected during 2004 to 2014? If it is snooping, they will do it on the sly. If they come to your house and ask you to fill up the details, it is not snooping. It is for security purposes.
अभी तक जो जानकारी है उसके हिसाब से 526 VVIPs, they have all been profiled also. Madam, it's a procedure started in 1957.
Earlier during 0 hour, leaders of the Congress and other opposition parties had opposed the inquiry, saying it violated privacy. The Congress in fact accused the government of snooping on opposition party leaders.
वैसा ही पॉलिटिकल अपोनेंट्स को आप खत्म करना चाहते हैं, विरोधियों को दबाना चाहते हैं, विरोधियों को डराना चाहते हैं। मेरा सिर्फ हमारे पार्टी के उपाध्यक्ष का नहीं है, सारे अपोजिशन पार्टी के नेताओं के।
The Delhi police has repeatedly refused that the exercise has anything to do with spying. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, as the government readies for possible tabling of the contentious Land Acquisition Amendment Bill in the Rajya Sabha this week, the Congress party today stepped up protests against it in the capital. Leaders expressed outright rejection of the 9 amendments the government had put forward.
Over the weekend, it was Bihar. On Monday, the national capital faced the anti-land bill protest onslaught. Thousands of youth Congress workers led by senior party leaders marched from Rajghat to Jantar Mantar against what they term is an anti-farmer bill. Leaders expressed outright rejection of the government's amendments.
ये मार्च संसद के अंदर और संसद के बाहर ये संघर्ष जारी रहेगी और हम इन संशोधनों के खिलाफ हैं, हम लड़ते रहेंगे।
जिस कानून के अंदर किसान को अपना हक नहीं है कि अपनी जमीन के बारे में फैसला कर सके, अरे एक मामूली पेन अगर मैं आपकी जेब से लेता हूं, उसके लिए मैं आपसे पूछता हूं, पेन लेने के लिए मैं आपसे पूछता हूं, तो किसान जो उसकी माँ है जमीन, उसको आप किसी भी कोठरी में भेजना चाहते हैं?
ये किसानों के हित में है, किसान देश के साथ जुड़ा है, देश का अर्थतंत्र का सवाल है, तो ये मुहिम किसानों के हित में तो है ही, उसके साथ साथ राष्ट्र के हित में।
जो संशोधन लाया है मोदी सरकार ने, हम उसके पक्ष में नहीं हैं। ये किसान विरोधी संशोधन है और किसानों की जो एक उनका मौलिक अधिकार है, उससे उनको वंचित करने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है।
On Sunday night, an over 100-kilometer two-day foot march against the bill reached Rajghat from Bhatta Parsol. Youth Congress leaders and various farmer organizations participated in the protest, stepping up pressure on the government. Congress, NCP, TMC and SP have already made their stand clear by voting against the bill in the Lok Sabha. The bill got through there because of the NDA's majority. But the Rajya Sabha will be a far bigger challenge for the government. The BJP on its part has lashed out at the opposition, rejecting the anti-farmer tag given to the land bill.
Congress party's opposition to land acquisition bill is purely political. Current bill is certainly in favor of the farmers. It will benefit the farmers, the poor and the country as a whole. While opposing bills like this, the Congress party actually seems to be anti-development, anti-progress, and by trying to call this bill anti-farmer, Congress is not going to gain anything. It's actually stalling country's economic growth.
सत्ता से बाहर होंगे तो कुछ ना कुछ तो करेंगे ना।
Under the rules, the land acquisition bill has to be cleared by both houses by the 5th of April, failing which it will have to be repromulgated to exist, which in effect means the government has only till March 20th to get the bill through the Rajya Sabha, the last date before it goes on a month-long break. Given the opposition, it's a huge ask. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
A western disturbance triggered rains across vast areas of north and west India, causing extensive damage to winter crops that were ripe for harvest. Heavy rain and hailstones, the size of golf balls at some places, damaged crops of wheat and potato among others. Besides losses to the farmers, the destruction has now sparked fears of shortages in nearby cities like Delhi.
Non-stop rains caused widespread destruction in North India, killing 14 people and damaging the standing crops worth crores. 12 people were killed in Rajasthan while 2 died in Uttarakhand. Scores of cattle also perished in the thunderstorms. The inclement weather damaged rabi crops, especially wheat, zira and mustard. On the outskirts of Jaipur city, the crops were flattened on the ground before harvest. Of the 33 districts in the state, rabi crops were heavily affected in at least 20 districts. Food grains lying in open markets were also spoiled. In Uttar Pradesh, wheat and potato farmers reported widespread damage to their crops.
हमने प्याज लगाया था, वो हम निकलने को अभी 1 महीना तो बाकी था, वो उसके पहले बर्बाद हो गया सब. हमारा कम से कम 25-30 लाख का नुकसान हो गया.
Unseasonal rains and hailstorm also damaged acres of farmland in Maharashtra. The worst affected was the onion crop in the Nagpur belt.
कल रात में बहुत देर से बारिश और गारा हुआ, उसकी वजह से टोटल पे कांदा डैमेज हो गया, पूरा डैमेज हो गया. करीबन 10-15 गांव में, ये नदी के बेल्ट के 10-15 गांव में टोटल नुकसान हो गया.
Marathwada, Khandesh and Vidarbha regions have been getting heavy rainfall for the past few days. Aurangabad has experienced non-stop rain since Saturday night, with wheat, gram, onion plantations bearing the brunt of the damage.
हमारे खेत में वो प्याज था, गन्ना था, गेहूं था, ज्वारी था और भरपूर जानवरों को चारा, ये सब माल पूरा खत्म हो गए.
Wheat proved to be the most vulnerable crop. Sowed in the first week of November, it was ready for harvest. Till the untimely rains are most likely to bring down output. Whereas state governments, including Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, however, put the damage of the sown crops at just 5 to 10%. Maharashtra has estimated the loss of rabi crop at over 1,000 crore rupees, while Punjab has put it at 3,000 crore rupees. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, those concerns aside, the wholesale price index continued to show a disinflationary trend, ebbing to an all-time low level of minus 2.06% in February as compared to 0.39% in January. The steeper than expected fall in the figures for February, the fourth consecutive monthly decline, is largely on account of a fall in fuel prices and decline in manufactured products, inflation in the face of weak consumer demand. Now, while fuel and power prices fell 14.72%, food prices rose 7.74%. The WPI figures are contrary to the trend witnessed in the consumer price inflation, which rose to 5.37% in February compared to the 5.11% in the month of January. The RBI primarily focuses on consumer price index for monetary policy formulation. All right, for more on this, we've got KG Narendranath, who's the Deputy Editor of the Financial Express, joining us on the phone line. Thanks so much for joining us. First of all, just like to talk to you about really how the winter crops have been hit in North and West India. And does that actually mean, worry for consumers, especially in the capital? Do we see prices shooting up of vegetables, etc.?
No. The winter crop only got some affected in Punjab a bit. It's particularly of wheat crop has been affected. By some 3,000 crore crop loss have been reported from there. But generally, in all seasons, in some parts of the country you see some crop damage. But overall, this year also we are expecting the food grain output to be around 250 million tons, which is a bit less than last year 265 million tons, but still very good. There was a drop of around 3.2% in the overall output, but it may not be that big. So the crop damage is not as big as it is made out to be.
But sir, what we usually tend to see, and we've been seeing in the past few years, what happens is, the moment such kind of a weather, occurrence takes place, we normally see that the mandi guys, the wholesalers, they tend to increase prices, kind of holding on to certain products. Do we see something like that, erupting in the near few days?
Yeah, that can happen, but that is irrespective of this. But as I said, this is more in relation to vegetables, fruits and all. So the crop damage we have seen is not there. Any marginal crop damage, that is in wheat crop in Punjab especially, because of the unseasonal rains there. And that too is not very big if you take the year as a whole. As I said earlier, the overall crop of food grain output may not be affected substantially because of this. And the fruits and vegetables, you can have the middlemen doing some hanky-panky, but that's irrespective of the unseasonal rain. That's a normal phenomenon. That's a normal thing which happens in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we are taking that positive note of yours, and hopefully, in Delhi we won't be seeing any kind of shortage. But we're also talking about the WPI figures, very different from the CPI figures. We wonder why. Could you give us an idea of what is the significance of the WPI figures, going in this manner, and will it affect the RBI's, policy in any way?
The basket of WPI is very different from that of CPI. CPI largely includes fruits, food, vegetables and all. Whereas WPI has a very large component of manufactured items, especially chemicals, metals, etc. So because of the difference in the size, the basket's composition, WPI, because of the general overall commodity price crash globally, has been reflected in the WPI more than that in the CPI. So that's why the WPI looks more benign, or even a deflation is being seen. For this minus 2.06 in February, which is the lowest since the series has begun.
Yeah.
Since April 2005. Yeah. So that's primarily because of the composition and the global commodity price crash. So now the some budget measures like the increase in the service tax rate, there's a marginal increase in the excise rate, and the railway budget has announced some freight rate hike. All this will have some adverse impact on the inflation in the coming months. That will get reflected in the March-April data.
All right, we'll have to wait and see for that. Thank you so much, Mr. KG Narendranath, joining us this evening, giving us an idea really of the financial state of the country, at least today. We'll take a quick break here, but up next, IMF Chief Christine Lagarde is of course hopeful for the economy, praising it, and we'll get you more details in a bit.
Not the best friends till recently. After Prime Minister Modi's visit to Sri Lanka, have Indo-Lankan relations turned a corner? What's the big picture? 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Let's get you more news from the capital now. In Delhi, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal returned to Delhi today with a lot of issues needing to be solved. He's been away from Delhi for almost 2 weeks, and this has been a turbulent time for his party. Kejriwal surely needing all his health now to handle the crisis in the Aam Aadmi Party.
After spending 12 days at a naturopathy center in Bengaluru, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal returns rejuvenated and healthier than when he left. But although his break has been idyllic, he returns to a swirl of not only work but also a series of controversies surrounding his party. Nevertheless, he is excited to be coming back.
मैं काफ़ी एक्साइटेड हूँ वापस दिल्ली जाके फिर से दिल्ली के लोगों की सेवा करनी है.
The 46-year-old Chief Minister of Delhi was admitted to the Institute for the Treatment of Several Health Issues, and the one big issue that awaits his attention in Delhi is the controversy surrounding Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav.
मैं चाहूँगा कि उनसे मुलाकात हो जाए अलग से अकेले में और मुझे उम्मीद है कि वो उसका पॉजिटिव जवाब देंगे. सबकी कोशिश यही है कि पार्टी मजबूत हो, आपस में जो द्वंद्व हैं वो खत्म हो.
The rift within the party has only widened in the time that Kejriwal has been away. Former MLA Rajesh Garg has been suspended for anti-party activities following the audio sting that accused Arvind Kejriwal of trying to poach 6 Congress MLAs to form the government.
राजेश गर्ग जी को पार्टी की प्राथमिक सदस्य से अभी फिलहाल हटाया गया है और ये तब तक सस्पेंशन प्रभावी रहेगा जब तक कि आगे की इंक्वायरी की रिपोर्ट्स ना आ जाए, क्योंकि पिछले कई दिनों से लगातार कंप्लेंट्स आ रही थी।
निश्चित रूप से केजरीवाल जी को देश ने भी ठेका दे रखा है, दिल्ली ने विशेष रूप से, कि ईमानदार कमिश्नर बना रखा है आजकल उनको। अब उनकी नजरों में दो बड़े चोर बेईमान हो गए हैं, योगेंद्र यादव जी और प्रशांत भूषण। अब वो ईमानदार रहेगा। आज राजेश गर्ग उस श्रेणी में आगे होगा बेईमान की श्रेणी में जी। अब वो ईमानदार की श्रेणी में अकेला कब तक रहता है वो, और 4-6 महीने लगेंगे इस बात को।
Arvind Kejriwal's return to Delhi will not be easy. These certainly tough times and the party's internal issues will be on the top of his agenda. Bureau report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The International Monetary Fund's Managing Director Christine Lagarde today termed the Indian economy is a bright spot in a cloudy global economy. Lagarde reached India today on a 2-day visit. She said that India's GDP has the potential to double by 2019, surpassing the combined total of Japan and Germany. She praised the steps taken by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan to steer the economy to a higher growing trajectory, with recent policy reforms and improvised business confidence set to boost growth. She said that India is likely to grow 7.2% this year and at 7.5% next year. Later in the day, Lagarde met Prime Minister Modi and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley.
We discussed a lot of issues having to do with the economy of India. I was able to confirm my impression that India is the bright spot of the global economy. There is clearly a renewed confidence from the rest of the world, which is looking at India with envy for some, because it is of all the large economies the one that is growing the fastest, and we forecast that growth to be solid and to continue going forward.
Meanwhile, there's an air of tension prevailing in Hisar in Haryana after miscreants vandalized an under-construction church in a village in the district late last night. Heavy security has been deployed to ensure the incident doesn't snowball. Here's more.
Amid a raging debate on security of Christians in the aftermath of a series of vandalism attacks at their institutions and assurances from the government, another one that rocks the boat. This one happened at an under-construction church in Kemri village in Hisar district of Haryana late on Sunday. Miscreants vandalized the church and placed a Hanuman statue in it.
कोई रात को ये 2-4 दिन पहले कोई असामाजिक तत्व लगा लो, पता नहीं है कौन थे, कुछ तो ये कह रहे बजरंग दल वाले थे, कोई कह रहे गांव के थे। रात की बात है ये। इन्होंने ऊपर जो ये अपने निशान है ईसाई धर्म का, इसको तोड़ा ताड़ी करे और अंदर कोई फोटो वगैरह रखती है।
On one hand you talk about unity in diversity, सबके साथ सबका विकास, and then on the other hand we indulge in destroying a church or destroying people, attacking people. And if at all there was anything that was illegal, or they could have easily approached the police, or the law and order situation could be easily controlled. This calls for unwarranted reactions and responses from the community.
An air of tension gripped the area on Monday morning. Police filed an FIR against 14 people for rioting, damaging place of worship, theft and promoting enmity following a complaint from the church priest. Christian leaders say it's obvious that some quarters continue to stoke hatred.
We don't blame totally those people who are actually doing it, but the blame should be put on those people who are inciting them, or rather putting this idea into their mind. Say for example, Dr. Subramanian Swami the other day said that it is only in temples that God lives, and then churches and mosques are not where God doesn't live, so they can be demolished like that, Such statements, for a simple people, it is exciting them, inciting them and moving them to action.
Reports say the local priest had pushed for construction of a church despite the fact that there are no Christians live in the entire village. Some locals even alleged that the priest carried out forced conversions. The Minorities Commission has called for strong steps to check such attacks.
मुझे पूरी आशा है कि हरियाणा सरकार इस सिलसिले में कठोर से कठोर कदम उठाएगी, और हम तो यही चाहेंगे कि इस प्रकार की घटनाओं का अंत हो और समाज में एक ऐसा माहौल बने जिसमें हम ये कह सके, हर समुदाय के लोग ये महसूस करें कि ये हमारा देश है.
Just last month, the Prime Minister had assured the strongest possible action against elements looking to disturb communal harmony. This attack will likely turn into a test for just that promise. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Oceanian island nation Vanuatu has appealed for immediate outside help after tropical cyclone Pam tore through the country on Saturday. The country's president said that the storm had wiped out all development and his country would have to rebuild everything from scratch. Rescue workers say they are still to make contact with some of the remotest islands. The UN and several countries have come forward to help in a long rehabilitation process under the cloud of a humanitarian disaster.
Tropical cyclone Pam has moved on, but the scale of devastation it has left behind in the islands of Vanuatu is just becoming apparent.
Very frightening. You just don't know whether you'll face another day, because you're sitting in and you're hearing everything noise outside and the wind and the sound of the whistles of the wind. It's just very frightening.
Devastation.
Devastation, destruction, yes.
This beautiful 5-star resort just
flattened.
Rubble.
People of Vanuatu decimated.
Military planes carrying supplies and aid have started arriving from Australia and New Zealand, but they are still to reach the most remote areas where people are left without food, water and basic hospital facilities. Estimates say at least 90% of housing in Port Vila has been badly damaged. Parts of the hospital are flooded. UNICEF reported that over 60,000 children are in need of assistance. The Chinese Red Cross Society has already provided over $1 lakh in aid.
Agencies are estimating that approximately 130 people, that is more than half the population of the country, may have been affected by Cyclone Pam.
I have instructed to dispatch immediate assistance teams to Vanuatu, and we will take necessary action to mobilize humanitarian assistance to these Vanuatu people.
A state of emergency has been announced on the Pacific Island nation. President Baldwin Lonsdale is back in Vanuatu after attending a UN conference on disaster reduction.
The people of the Republic of Vanuatu, they need humanitarian assistance at the moment. And I'm very pleased with the international communities that they have responded to my appeal, which is going through to Vanuatu right now.
The official death toll due to the storm stands at 8, but it is expected to rise sharply. The Category 5 storm with winds of up to 300 km per hour struck Vanuatu early on Saturday, one of the most powerful storms ever to make landfall. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And now let's get you more news from across the world in Global Buzz. The tomb of ousted Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein has been completely destroyed as fighting rages on in Iraq's secret region as Iraqi forces and Iranian-backed Shia militia battle to drive out the Islamic State militants. Reports say only a few pillars remain in the tomb. Saddam's posters have also been replaced with Shia militia flags. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif have begun talks to nail a nuclear agreement before the March 31st deadline. Kerry urged Iran to make concessions that would allow 6 world powers to reach a political framework for an agreement that would lift sanctions in exchange for curbs on Tehran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, a senior member of the Saudi royal family has warned that a deal could prompt other regional states to develop atomic fuel. The death toll in the Brazil bus crash has risen to 54. On Saturday, a bus carrying at least 60 tourists fell into a ravine in southern Brazil. Initially, police had reported 32 killed, but later said recovery crews believed an additional 19 were dead. Officials are probing the cause of the crash, though initial investigations say brake failure was responsible. That's it for the moment from me, but you can follow all this news also on rajyasabhatv.com. Thanks so much for joining us.